Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Daycare Profit Strategy community. I am Shanita Jones, your hostess with the mostest. Good evening. Not sure if that picked up. I'm Shanita Jones, of course, Shanita Jones CPA, your hostess with the mostest. And I had the pleasure of talking to one of our lovely clients this evening, earlier this evening, and we got on a topic of her relationship with us. So she is in this group, and I jokingly mentioned that a lot of the videos that y'all see me do, a lot of the emails, they are about real life situations that go on. Most of the time, these videos are created because something happened and it really upset me to see what happened to someone. So I never post anything without permission if there's any identifying information. So recognize that some people really are saying, hey, you got to tell people. And then some of the other stuff is just stuff that from experience you learn. But what I want to talk to y'all today is about what you should absolutely not do when you have an accountant. So there are some things that people have been doing, and accountants, tax professionals, attorneys, people are quick to tell you what to do to have a good relationship or a good experience, but very few of them tell you what not to do. So, because I have seen very clearly what not to do when you have a relationship with an accountant, especially a good accountant, if you don't have one, we are accepting new clients. The first thing that you should not do when you have an accountant is you should not, I'm using double negatives, you should not show up to meetings. And if licensing comes up, some important event happens, maybe you overslept, maybe you forgot, maybe you were at the salon, whatever it is, if you have a meeting or a meeting is part of your package, you should attend that meeting. And if you can't attend that meeting, you should reschedule that meeting. You should find out how, if there's a link for us, we have links. You should reschedule your meeting. Because let me tell y'all something. When accountants bill hourly for services, we bill anywhere, and our monthly clients are not billed hourly, so don't be afraid. But for consultations and certain tax planning things, we bill anywhere from $175 to $250 an hour. So that hour that you had set aside and didn't show up for, we could have made much more effective use of that time. So that's number one. Don't no call, no show on your accountant. And understand that your accountant is asking you to have this meeting because they have something that they feel is more valuable to share with you than whatever it is, these other things they could have been doing. So show up to your meeting. If you are sick, this is number two thing not to do. So number one, do not show up and not reschedule. It's okay if you miss it because we're not perfect. We're humans. We may miss. The second thing you don't want to do is you don't want to look over. You don't want to not look over anything that was sent to you from your accountant. So if your accountant sent you a tax return, if they sent you a report, if they sent you a message in a bottle, they sent this information to you and then said, hey, let's talk about it. Not because they want to just send you things. Accountants send you these things. We send videos to our clients. And I'm going to tell you, we get a notification when our clients watch the video, and we can see when the video wasn't watched. Now, remember when I told you about that trade-off of time for money? If we know you don't know what we're talking about, we're going to reschedule so that you can show up with a certain level of questions or understanding or knowledge or disagreements. So you don't want to have something concerning your business or your personal tax life, not look at it, or not look at it and not show up. You know why? Because you work hard for your money. You work hard for your money and you want to make your money work for you. You hired that professional for that professional expertise, so you need to fully utilize it. We want our people to utilize it, but it's a time and a place. So make sure if I talked to someone the other day, actually before I went to Florida, their accountant sent them a copy of their tax return and they just signed it. Oh, she's been doing my return for 52 years. Okay, I'm exaggerating. It wasn't 52. But she's been doing my return forever and I trust her and I trust her judgment. I want my people to trust me, but I'm going to tell y'all like I tell my accounting manager, We trust, but we verify. We are sending you this information because we want you to read it. When you sign that tax return, you are signing it under penalties of perjury of the law. Your tax pro ain't going to jail. Yes, I said ain't, educators. Don't get me. Your tax pro is not going to get in trouble because something is wrong with your return, because you're signing it under penalties of perjury. And I am sick and tired of being sick and tired of seeing bad things happen to really good people, really good, smart people, because nobody's telling them this. So whether it's a profit and loss, a balance sheet, a budget versus actual report, if you are in a grant program and you have to turn in reports, whatever it is that you are given, I want you guys to take a look at it. When you have a relationship with an accountant, do not look at what you were given. Number 3, right in line with that, do not forsake your need, your desire, your ability to ask questions. You are not asking stupid questions. I am qualified to teach college accounting, but I am not qualified to do a preschool curriculum. Why? Because that's not my training, that's not my skill set. And good accountants do not expect their clients that don't have that background to speak the same lingo. That's why you don't hear me throwing a lot of jargon at you, because in all you're getting, it's important to us that we get understanding. Not I use a bunch of highfalutin big words that nobody understands. And yes, I've impressed you with my vocabulary, but at the end of the day, how is that helping your business? And my daddy told me the only stupid question are the ones that we are too afraid to ask. If I explain something to you 3 times, or your accountant explains something to you 3 times, and you still don't get it, ask again. Why? Because this is your business, this is your money, this is your future, your blood, sweat, and tears, your family's livelihood. So please, do not be quiet when something is confusing, not understandable, doesn't make sense. Do not do that, because this is your business and your accountant is here to support you. Another thing, number 4, that I don't want you to do when you have a relationship with an accountant, don't ignore them. Do not do that. Even if it's, I can't talk to you right now, I can't respond to your message right now, that's fine. We're busy. We're business owners. We're CEOs. We are millionaires in the making, or whatever, however it is that you envision yourself. But make a note to go back and to talk to them. Remember going back to the beginning of the video? And if you're just tuning in or catching it here when we get done, go back to the beginning of the video in your spare time. So don't do that. Don't just put it off. Don't put off. Now, I have one lady, and she's probably watching, and she said, I hope you don't go make no video about me. This video is not about you, but it is about people like you and I, because I do the same thing with people. I do the same thing with my doctor, y'all. I don't want to go back and I still ain't lose that weight I told her I was going to lose, or that blood pressure still ain't where it's supposed to be. Why? Because she's holding me accountable for my health. And a good accountant is going to hold you accountable for your financial health. I tell y'all don't pay me to make y'all feel good and say rain shines and rainbows and unicorns. But I did get to tell one of my clients last week that she should go buy a bag. She should take some money and go buy herself something, because she had been a really good girl. She's a lady, but she had been really good. She had the money, going to pay tax on it, might as well spend it, doing it the right way. But what I want y'all to do is I want y'all to, ask questions. Don't ignore your accountant. Don't not show up for meetings. Don't not read your reports. Don't do these things, because it is not making the best use of your money. Another thing that you should not do when you have an accountant, you should not make major money moves in your life and not tell your accountant. Now, maybe you don't have CFO level services. Maybe your accountant is only performing bookkeeper services for you. Or maybe your package only comes with a quarterly meeting and you need a monthly meeting or a weekly meeting. I'm pretty sure I can speak on behalf of all accountants, because after these tax seasons we have, I feel like I have the authority and ability to do so. I think your accountant would much rather you send a message and ask your question. And if you need something done that's going to cost an additional fee or something, they rather tell you or lead you in the right direction of where to go than you just do things and not tell them. I have clients, they have appeared with boats and houses and cars and trailers and all sorts of stuff, and I know nothing about it. I've had people open up additional businesses. How could they get this? And you know why I don't know? Because I'm sending questions. Hey, what's this? How do we classify this? What is this transaction? What are you doing? Is this a new crickets? But then when they need to go close on a house or when they want to go buy a new company, then it's, I need what I need yesterday. No, this is a relationship. Your accountant, your attorney, your insurance broker, these are relationships. We care about your success because if you don't succeed, we don't succeed. Our futures are intertwined, commingled in a good way. I know I'm always talking about bad commingling, but we are in this together and we want to know. So please stop doing that, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a relationship with an accountant, if you have a relationship with an accountant, another thing not to do when you have a relationship with an accountant is please, please, please do not assume that something is happening if you don't know. If you don't know, if you're unsure, if you think you know and you just want to be sure, just ask. When you get that tax return done, I had somebody tell me, oh, I never paid my taxes because I thought my accountant was paying it. Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to pay my bills because my accountant didn't tell me to. We are all grown-ups. We know that if we have these things going on, we have to do what we have to do. And if you don't receive notification of it, you should ask. Well, you may say, well, you're my accountant. Why don't you tell me? When you sign that paper and it says you owe X amount of money, you know that you got to pay it. And if you know that your accountant does not do accounts payable, paying bills, or paying taxes for you, and this never happened before, you have no reasonable expectation that it will miraculously happen this one time. So do not do that. Ask questions. If you want them to do that, tell them, I would like you to do this for me. And most of us will be more than happy to do it. Another thing you should not do when you have an accountant. You should not assume your tax professional is your accountant. If we're engaged to prepare taxes for someone and they show up at the end of the year, that's what we do. We're doing your taxes. If we see something that can help you, we'll let you know. But tax preparation is tax preparation. Tax advice or tax planning is tax advice or tax planning. And accounting is accounting. Know what your relationship is. Get it clearly defined. If you were not given an engagement letter, ask for an engagement letter. If you would like your engagement to change, say something. The worst thing a person can say is, no, I can't perform that service. Yes, I can. Or this is what's gonna happen as a result of it. So my little recap every once in a while. Do not ignore your accountant. Do not fail to ask questions, especially if it's because you think they aren't intelligent questions. That no such thing. Do not assume. If you don't know, just ask. Do not read your documentation. If you know you were given this, if we showing up to sit down and have a meeting about your finances, you should read. And I send videos because the reading is not enjoyable reading and it's confusing for some people. So until we've established that you understand how to read the reports and you can read them back to me, you're getting a video if that's part of your package. But if you get this, watch it beforehand. It's not to rush you off the phone or the Zoom. It's because I want you to maximize your time and your relationship with me. I want, when you sit down with myself or one of the accountants on our team, I want to be able to strategize. I want to be talking about how to make your next move your best move. I want to be talking about tax savings, tax planning, projections, the future, your succession plan or your exit strategy, your buy, sell, your expansion. I want to talk about that. I don't want to read you something that you can read yourself and that I have already read to you. So don't do that when you have an accountant. Because what does it do? You spend the first 20, 30 minutes of your meeting going over something that could have been going over and you could have been talking about your next. So don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't do that for you. Now, it makes it real easy for us because that's less thinking, that's less brain power we got to do. But I do this because I love it, because I believe in education, especially early childhood education. I believe in the business owners that are taking care of our babies, helping us parents, us working parents, go to work. I believe that it's instilling things in our children that they're going to need to sustain them. So I do what I do because I love it, not because I want to rush you off the phone. However, as we continue to grow and recover from COVID, and as you continue to grow and recover from COVID and spending a little bit of time on the beach, I have realized that it is time for us to all level up. Part of leveling up, part of profitability is understanding that the most valuable asset you have is your time. And we cannot afford to waste or make inefficient use of our time. So making efficient use of our time. Oh, I have a question. I want to know, what do I need to do to get my PPP forgiven? And I have an accountant. Don't call and say, I just need to speak to Jacqueline. That's one of the CPAs that everybody like because she talks slower than me and she's much nicer than me. Or I want to talk to Anita. Some people like Anita because she talks really fast or whatever reason. But don't do that. If you leave a descriptive message or you put your message in our portal, the way we communicate with our clients, this way when we show up, we could call you back. Hey, Miss Mary, I got your message and you wanted dot, 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 dot. Okay, this is what you have to do. That's efficient use of your time. That's not billable time. But if you need to have a whole meeting every week so that you can discuss things things that could be easily answered, is not really making very efficient use of your time. And I'm speaking on it because time and the time we spend and how we spend our time is directly correlated to how profitable we can be, how restful we can be. Not just profitable in dollars and cents, but profitably mentally, physically, spiritually. Okay? So let's level up. And let's have our people level up with us too. You know? What else do you not do when you have an accountant? When you have an accountant, you should not fail to trust them in their judgment and their systems. Can anybody show up to your child care center and say, I only want Miss Margaret to feed my daughter lunch at 2 o'clock because I like the way Miss Margaret does it? No, you can't do that. So if your accountant has someone else do your intake form or whatever, why are they doing that? Because their time spent with you is more valuable than filling out your intake form. And that is why things are being done. And you know why those of us that are profit driven and profit focused do these things? It is to save us time, because the more time that we save and the more efficiently we operate, we can serve you better when we're talking to you. We can have our mind on you and your situation when we're speaking to you. And also, we don't have to increase your fees because we can get less done dealing with the same, with some of the same things. So, and I'm laughing because I can see some people saying, oh, tax season was bad, she's just angry. No, tax season was great because I lived through it. I lost I lost a lot of people since the pandemic happened. And I lost some accountant friends, one from COVID and one from a heart attack. And this is a high stress situation, and I understand how that could happen to someone. So just like it could happen to someone in this profession, it can happen to anyone. And I just want to see us level up. So this is 2021. I'm not looking at it like one, like the number one. My daughter said it is corny. I'm still in it. She's not in the group, so she won't know. I'm not giving her credit. But I'm saying this is 2020, WON1. Past tense of win. It's already happened. We have already did the win part. Now we need to realize it. We need to see the manifestation of it. So if you have an accountant, these are the things that you should not do. Okay? So what should you do? The exact opposite of these things. But I tried the positive, not doing the double negatives, and I don't think is set in too much. This is what you should not do. I'm gonna tell y'all. One more. This is the bonus one. The bonus one is if you owe a lot of money in tax, and you know you owe a lot of money in tax, and your accountant says, and I did this actually to a family member, and your accountant says, I'm putting you on extension. I need to think about some things. You should not be angry. Because if I say, well, ma'am, right now it looks like you owe about $35,000, but let me sit on this. Let me think on this. Let me research on this. Let me exhaust every opportunity on this. Keep in mind, I don't make more money if you pay less money or you get a bigger refund. Why would I ask someone to wait? Because I want for you what I want for me, the very best. Okay? So don't rush your accountant if they tell you to wait. Now, if they just ignoring you, or you know that your situation is simple or whatever, then that's a different scenario. But if you have a complex situation or some kind of legal stuff involved and somebody's waiting to hear back from an attorney, do not rush. Just put it on your calendar, send a message weekly, and do your update if that's what you want to do. But usually I've learned, my coaches taught me, if I'm going to reply to you next Tuesday, I'm going to tell you, hey, let's talk next Wednesday. So that I've overpromised, I've underpromised and over delivered. Because for y'all that know me, I don't like to break my word, go back on my word, or promise, or anything like that. So these are things you should not do. You should not fail to ask, how does this work? You should not fail to read your engagement letters. Yes, these things, they explain just like you explain your handbook to parents. Oh, the children have to be here these days before this time. They can't come during this time, or tuition is due this day, or whatever the rules are in your handbook for your center. You have those rules for a reason, and it frustrates you to no end when parents try to act like they don't understand. Well, why I gotta pay? My child wasn't here. I ain't talking about the COVID. I'm talking about they just didn't come for a week. Or what do you mean? He wasn't here 5 days. He was here 4 days. How was that full time? Your handbook says that full time is 3 days or more in most instances. So those parents, let me play devil's advocate and assume they really read it and they really didn't understand what they signed. That makes you angry, right? It feels like you want to serve them, you want to make them happy, so you start to bend and twist and turn, and eventually you'll break. Okay, so we not breaking, or ain't nothing gonna be broke about us in 2021. WON1. So that same energy, let's keep that same energy and use that same energy when we deal with other professional service providers to ask for clarity on anything you may have clarity about before it's a topic of contention. So if you're watching this video and you are unsure if anything is acceptable, unacceptable, good practice, not a good practice, feel free to put it in the comments below. If you want to know, is this a question, is this something that accountants do, feel free to put it in the box. If you don't have an accountant, so now we're going to open up the doors to the accounting firm, and we're going to do an accounting altar call. If you don't have an accounting firm, if you don't have a certified public accountant or a financial team on your corner, if you are not sure how much income you are making, if you're making a profit, if you have a loss, can you afford to pay your workers more? How do you pay yourself? Can you afford to pay yourself? Should you be an S Corp? Should you be a C Corp? How do you pay your kids? Should you pay your kids? What is the situation surrounding it? Are you ready to expand? How do you expand? Is this a good price for rent? Should I buy this building? The bank needs this information to buy a building. I work for myself. If you don't have an accountant and you have these questions, and these are circumstances and situations that are weighing heavily on your heart and mind, stopping you from getting to the next level, feel free to reach out to us and myself or one of the other awesome accountants on my team. We'll be more than happy to speak to you. If you need specific advice for your situation, you can also book a consultation where you can get that specific advice. Like I said, I haven't talked to y'all in a while. Life has been hectic. You see, I even got a suntan. Snuck away for a while, but life has been hectic. So we are here for you. Looking forward to your comments below. Let's talk. And we'll see what the next video topic is, depending on the questions that we get. Talk with you soon. Over and out. Stay safe. Bye bye.